Have you ever looked at someone you've known your whole life and suddenly realized they've gotten older? It's a jarring moment. That specific feeling is the heartbeat of a poem by Kamala Das. The setting is simple. It's Friday morning, and she is taking a routine car ride with her mother, heading to the Cochin airport. There is no grand action or epic storyline here. Instead, the poem captures a single creeping wave of anxiety that washes over the author during this ordinary drive. By anchoring her thoughts in a familiar, everyday car trip, Das takes a common experience and turns it into a quiet reflection on human mortality. Inside the car, the physical reality is stark. The poet's mother is sitting right beside her, lightly dozing off. Her mouth is slightly open, and she looks pale and frail. Looking at her, the poet is struck by a sharp, painful realization. She is seeing, perhaps for the first time, the advanced reality of her mother's age. To cope with that heavy thought, she tries to distract herself. She physically turns her head away from her mother and stares out the car window as they drive. The physical movement from her childhood home to the airport mirrors her internal thoughts. She is moving away from the comfort of routine and straight into the terrifying anticipation of losing someone she loves. To understand how the poem builds this feeling, look at the window of contrast. The poet creates a sharp divide between the space inside the car and the world passing by outside. Look at the description of the inside imagery. The poet uses a simile, comparing her mother's pale face to something deeply unsettling. She writes, her mother's face is ashen, like that of a corpse, emphasizing stillness and decay. Then we shift to the outside. We read about trees sprinting and merry children spilling out, words bursting with motion and happiness. There is a very human psychological reason for this contrast. The poet is deliberately throwing her attention toward youth and energy on the outside as an escape hatch to avoid the painful reality of decline sitting right next to her. This window of contrast shows that while the world outside continues rushing forward with life, it remains completely indifferent to the quiet fading of life happening inside the car. The car ride eventually ends, and they arrive at the airport. After the security check, the poet is now physically separated, standing a few yards away from her mother. Looking back at her, the poet uses another specific simile. She describes her mother as pale as a late winter's moon, lacking color and warmth. Notice the grammar highlighted here. The entire poem is written as one single sentence, punctuated only by commas. This forces the reader to move through the lines without stopping. We are placed right inside the poet's unbroken, anxious stream of consciousness. At the very end, we see the poet's final action. She tells her mother she will see her soon, and then she writes, "All I did was smile and smile and smile." This isn't an expression of joy. It is a desperate mask worn to hide an old, familiar ache, a childhood fear of losing her parent. That forced smile captures the tragedy of the moment. The poet silently swallows her deepest fear to protect her aging mother from her own distress. Now that we have unpacked the emotion, let's organize these ideas into structured points for your exam preparation. This graphic breaks down the 3 core themes you should memorize: the inevitability of aging, the heavy pain of separation, and the resurgence of childhood fears. For short answer questions, explicitly define the key phrases. The familiar ache is the poet's childhood fear of losing her mother. The winter's moon symbolizes the last fading stage of life, drained of youthful energy. For long answer questions, always center your essay on the contrast. Focus on how the vibrant, sprinting trees outside sit in direct opposition to the quiet, corpse-like stillness of the mother inside the car. Beyond the exam prep, there is a very human truth here. Aging is an unstoppable force, but it is our deep love and connection that makes the thought of letting go so profoundly painful. Studying this poem builds the empathy to appreciate our families while they're still here, a perspective that lasts long after you've finished your board exams.